ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
Frontline San Diego health workers are preparing to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Good evening, I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. As you saw on ABC's World News, the FDA's advisory panel recommended approval of Pfizer's vaccine today. Our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Dela Cruz looks at how San Diego plans to get it to the people who need it most.
The vaccination of a lifetime is just days away for San Diego hospitals. Sharp Healthcare is getting ready to distribute thousands of Pfizer vaccines to their frontline employees.
They will sign up and be scheduled, so it won't be, we don't want people lining up at the door. We want to make sure we're maintaining social distancing.
Suzanne Shea is the Vice President of Pharmacy Services for Sharp. She says their freezer will store the doses at the necessary negative 80 degrees centigrade. From there, they'll be moved to refrigerators when they're ready to be given out. The vaccine won't be mandatory for their staff, but it will be available at all of their locations to make it as convenient as possible. Frontline workers like Edzo Montemayor are at the top of the list to get the vaccine. He's a physical therapist working with COVID patients who've been hospitalized.
We're right in front of them, standing them up, face to face. And, the first inclination is to want them to wear a mask so that they're not, coughing onto you and whatnot. But their oxygen saturations are so low that you almost just feel bad for asking them to do so.
He sees the long-term effects COVID can have on the body. He says some people can't even get out of bed. Others have lasting symptoms resembling a stroke.
I've seen a lot of people where they're not going to return to normal life. It takes a village to help these folks, and the nurses are overwhelmed, and so it's all hands on deck.
The challenge now for many healthcare workers is dispelling myths about vaccines. They're hoping that by their example, others will follow.
Are you going to be getting the vaccine?
Absolutely. That needle's going to go in my arm.
Sharp Healthcare says even people who've already had COVID-19 should be vaccinated. Jennifer Dela Cruz, ABC 10 News.
San Diego County is set to receive 28,000 doses of the initial shipment. Another round of vaccines is expected in about 3 to 4 weeks.
Parts of California are running out of hospital beds. The Fresno City Council is declaring a state of emergency because of insufficient ICU beds and healthcare workers. And fewer than 2% of the ICU beds are left in the San Joaquin Valley region. In Tijuana, the holiday outlook is grim as COVID case numbers continue to rise. Like San Diego, Tijuana is currently in the most restrictive tier. Baja California is now totaling more than 27,000 cases since the start of the pandemic, with nearly 5,000 deaths. Televisa anchor Estefania Baez says that many people there are actually afraid of the vaccine.
They don't even want to get vaccinated. We have heard in several places that people are afraid and they don't trust even the authorities.
Baja California's restrictions are in place through at least December 20th, meaning widespread closures.
Even though Americans could start getting vaccinated in just days, people who get the shot will still have to wear masks until scientists can answer a key question. Our Derek Stahl is going in depth to explain the concern around vaccinated people potentially spreading the virus.
The clinical trials by Pfizer and Moderna showed the two vaccines were 95% effective. But what that really means is they were 95% effective at preventing COVID-19 symptoms. The trials did not measure whether vaccinated volunteers got infected without symptoms.
So it is possible and conceivable you could get the vaccine, be protected, your health is going to be fine, you're not going to get sick, but you still could get an asymptomatic case, pass it on to your grandmother and kill her.
Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are injected into the arm muscle to stimulate antibodies. And from there, the antibodies can quickly get to the lungs to fend off severe infection. But experts say the antibodies may have less access to the nose and the throat, the primary entry points for the virus. Some studies have suggested that people without symptoms can still have high enough levels of coronavirus in their nose to infect other people. Dr. Christian Ramers is with Family Health Centers of San Diego.
So the vaccine's doing something to prevent disease. We don't really know yet if it prevents transmission. So we got to fall back on all those fundamental things like distancing, masking, and washing hands.
Still, experts say there are encouraging clues that vaccinated people may be less contagious, like a study in October that found antibody levels in the blood were similar to levels in saliva in the mouth. Until we know more, doctors say vaccinated people will have to keep wearing masks, potentially until we reach herd immunity.
There's modeling to suggest that it will be next summer until we reach the point where there's enough people vaccinated that this curve of new cases really starts to go down.
There's a chance we could get some good news before then. Both Pfizer and Moderna say they'll start testing their volunteers' blood to see if they got infected after vaccination. Moderna says it'll take several weeks to produce results. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
AstraZeneca conducted its trial a little differently and had volunteers regularly test themselves for signs of an asymptomatic infection. The company said early data suggests its vaccine did reduce those kinds of infections.
A free smartphone app to trace COVID-19 cases is now available to everyone in California. The California Notify tool was developed with the help of UC San Diego researchers. The app is voluntary and anonymous. It's already on iPhones with the latest update. You can just switch it on with exposure notifications. That's in your settings. For Android users, it's called CA Notify. Using Bluetooth technology, it records when two telephones are close to each other for an extended period. If one of the users later tests positive, they have the choice to anonymously notify those contacts for the past 14 days.
Amtrak is requiring people who want to take the Surfliner over Christmas to make a reservation. The reservation will be required from December the 23rd to the 28th. Doing so will allow riders to distance themselves from others on board. Everyone is encouraged to only travel for essential purposes. And you can stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store.
San Diego has a new mayor. Todd Gloria was officially sworn in this morning. But as ABC 10 News reporter John Horn explains, there is very little time to celebrate.
I, Todd Gloria, do solemnly swear.
And with that, Todd Gloria officially began his term as San Diego's mayor.
Today, I stand in front of you as the first person of color and LGBTQ person to ascend to our city's highest office.
Gloria and 5 new council members were sworn in during a virtual ceremony Thursday due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Gloria is a Democrat, and the Democrats now have an 8-to-1 advantage on the city council. But even if there is political harmony, the challenges facing the city are grand. Gloria and the council take over with the region in a mandatory stay-at-home order due to the virus. Small businesses are shuttering, unemployment is near 8%, and the city could face a $124 million budget shortfall next fiscal year.
You know, there are some things that people say you shouldn't touch, such as police, fire, that type of thing. But if this continues on for another year, this COVID, who knows what the city budget's going to look like.
But in a brief speech, Gloria expressed confidence in getting San Diego back on its feet.
We will be rolling out an aggressive strategy to address the worsening public health crisis in COVID-19, the economic crisis that is impacting San Diego's families, small businesses, and our city budget, the housing and homelessness crisis that has become even more dire.
Gloria says it's not enough to get San Diego just back to normal. He says normal isn't good enough. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
Outgoing Mayor Kevin Faulkner also gave a farewell speech.
Together, we have restored integrity to government, respect to our neighborhoods, and dignity to our city. Because when we set aside politics and lead with pride, there is nothing we can't do.
The San Diego City Council is now deciding who will be the new council president, taking over for George Ed Gomez.
A La Mesa business owner who got into a scuffle with reporters is in trouble once again.
Really? That's what I say.
You cut it off!
Well, that was the scene last January when Peter Karzis went after reporters trying to interview him outside his business. Yesterday, he was arrested outside an apartment complex on Lemon Avenue in La Mesa. Police say that he violated a restraining order filed in 2013 by a 62-year-old. When officers arrived yesterday, they did find Karzis sitting outside the residence of the person who filed that restraining order.
4 local college graduates are among the 18 astronauts who may possibly go to the moon. USD graduates Johnny Kim and Matthew Dominic are a part of NASA's Project Artemis, the first effort to get Americans back to the moon since the Apollo project ended in 1972. And UC San Diego grads Kate Rubins and Jessica Meir are also on the team. The goal is to have Americans back on the moon by 2024.